Syracuse football and the Stanford loss. What a crushing loss. All week it was built up that Syracuse was going to walk all over Stanford, but that didn't happen because Stanford is a better team than we all thought. This is why you cannot listen to the media and their critique on football teams because you will never know the truth until you play the game. All the media hype means absolutely nothing. These guys always predict and get things wrong. And it seems like all this rhetoric got in the players' head at Syracuse, and they really believe that they could just go in and walk all over Stanford because of what the media said. You can look at a game and watch a team and never know how good they really are until you meet them. This is why you can't listen to hype videos on how good or bad a team is because you never know. Georgia Tech was supposed to be this and that, but they showed out to be almost a cakewalk. And this exposes a lot of things in Syracuse defense. They have to hold teams later in the game. And it seems like fourth quarter, there's always a breakdown. I don't know if it's conditioning or what, but the play calling on defense was kind of suspect. You had a wide receiver from Stanford basically doing what he wanted to do, and he's going to be an NFL player on Sundays, and you don't double team him on 4th and 8, the last play possibly of the ball game, you go one-on-one, no man over the top. Syracuse coach kind of dropped the ball on this play because everybody saw what A.O. Manor was doing to the Syracuse defense. This guy is definitely a Sunday type of player, and they didn't double team him. The coaches dropped the ball on the last play, and it's sad that these young guys went out there and left their blood, sweat, and tears for the coach not to protect them and run a double coverage on Manor. He was the only wide receiver really getting off on Syracuse, and they left him in one-on-one coverage in the last play of the game to only lose by a field goal. This is why you cannot listen to broadcasters about the football game because most of these people never play and they're always guessing. And I hear some of the craziest propaganda from the media people who never play football and always nervous and speculating absolute nonsense. You can't predict the game until two people line up and play. And these things get into the player's head and get them thinking it's easy street. But as we seen against Stanford, it wasn't. Stanford up front was phenomenal. They confused Kyle McCord all night. And the offense was pretty good, but you have to make adjustments much faster on the fly. But this is the first game that they lost, and maybe they can learn something from here. And maybe this is a humbling experience to the players and the coaches, not to rely on players to get you over the hump. It's a team effort. So maybe we shouldn't rely on Kyle McCord and learn that the group team work brings the victory. So relying on one player to get you out shows that you're not coaching. So Fran Brown, you have to go back to the drawing board and don't rely on Kyle McCord. It's a team effort. We know he's a good quarterback, but it seemed like guys were relying on him to get them through. We need all 11 guys to work together as a unit. And Saturday or Friday night, we didn't see that. We seen guys who were off and maybe expecting to win and didn't bring their A game, and it ended up not going well for them. Stanford came to play, and like the coach said, they will do anything to win, and they did that on Friday night and came out with the victory and flew home happy, not falling to Syracuse's hype and Kyle McCord. The coaches on defense at Stanford did an excellent job of containing Kyle McCord and Syracuse offense in the first half, making them stumble a couple of times and jump off sides. Syracuse showed lack of discipline, and it seemed like they wasn't prepared or they were hungover from the win at Georgia Tech. Hopefully, this is a learning lesson and we come out for the next couple of games on fire. But that game was horrific to watch, seeing the offense sputter and not get anything off, and the offensive line still looked like it needs help because they couldn't run the football. But Stanford, we can't take any credit away from there up front. They did what they were supposed to do and totally dominated us in the first half. The second half, we came out and put ourselves in harm's way by running plays that were congested and throwing interceptions, and Kyle McCord making the wrong decisions. And all the things he was praised for, his quick release, letting the ball go before the receiver turned around, it backfired because he threw the ball and Stanford defenders turned around and they were right there for the interception. We have to clean all these things up, and players have to humble themselves and go back to the drawing board, back to the basics and fundamentals, and stay disciplined, because discipline is one of the reasons why we lost the game. It was the penalties, the holding, offsides, false starts, and all this thing that hurt us dearly in this game because we were supposed to win that game. We left a lot out on the field, from coaches to players. And I think it was a big-headed thing, and maybe this is a humble experience to get us over the hump, but the running game just wasn't there. And Stanford prepared well for Syracuse and shut them down in the first half. The second half wasn't much better, but only thing we could do was pass. And Kyle McCord, as the leader, made a couple of mistakes by jumping the gun and letting the ball rip as they told him he does. And two interceptions, which killed the game, one for a pick six and the other just an interception. So those were things that hurted us. If we can clean them up, possibly we can get back on track to winning. But now we're seeing there are some issues that we do have to clean up. The defense held its own, but it's the discipline thing. Guys have to be disciplined, and it's reverting back to last year and Dina Baber's team. A bunch of penalties that will shoot us in the foot. We have to clean it up and get better and play more discipline. Every week I talked about anticipation, and I see the guys are anticipating plays and are making them. But now they have to get the jitters out and the dirty style of play, because every week in the last two games, we've seen the dirty play that gave us penalties. So come on, guys, get your head together and play clean so we can get back to winning. Until the next time,